over those 4 years, what has your weight loss been? Like in terms of like quantity, like how many pounds?
184, 185, something like that. But I fluctuated so much.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've known the battles I've gone through. So I've gained and lost, and probably have lost literally over 200 pounds. But in actual numbers, if you're just sort of doing a adding, subtracting kind of thing, it's about 185.
Okay.
But I've gained 25 pounds or 30 pounds, and I lose it again.
And I think that's kind of one of the biggest strong points you have, starting up again, you know?
Yeah.
After it's gone the other way, getting back on track, getting on top of things again, and going the other way.
Yeah, it's always it's a struggle to get back on, but I always feel so much better after, you know, having my little breaks, as I like to call them. I wish I had my little epiphanies at a much younger age than when I first started, but you know, I think you have to have some sort of life-altering event in order for you to finally wake up and smell the coffee.
What was your life-altering event?
Not being able to walk. Getting out of bed was a struggle, and you know, there's diabetes and heart disease and high cholesterol on both sides of the family, and when it took a half hour to just literally stand up because of the pain at 38 was like, gotta do something.
And that was just happened to be about the time when we met.
Yeah, just about, okay. Literally. I mean, the weight just crept on. I mean, I was always heavy ever since I was a child, but as I settled into my 30s, it just kept creeping up, and that should have been my first clue that I was settling into very depressed.
Yeah,
you know, just kept shoveling and not exercising, and you know, so.
And we've used a number of different techniques and philosophies for your journey.
Yes.
And hypnosis is one of them. We're going to do a hypnotherapy session today. This is, as I was saying before, our last session. It's a special day. My last session, your last session.
Yeah.
And today we're going to use hypnosis to essentially reinforce everything that you've worked on for the last 3-4 years, and help you maintain. Do you remember your goal? I've got it written right here. Do you remember what it is for today's session?
No.
This is from 2 weeks ago when we came up with it.
I have a very bad memory. Go ahead, read it.
For it to be second nature for you to eat the right foods, exercise the necessary amount, maintain a healthy lifestyle and a healthy body composition. So we're setting you up now for essentially the rest of your life having a healthy body composition. It's the primary thing. And we've covered so many. We tried so many things, right?
Yes, we have, because I'm stubborn like that.
And I think
to have like breakthroughs.
Your story is such a cool story. I think it's gonna. It would be very interesting to a lot of people, and I'm sure you have interested.
Yeah, I've come to realize that I never set out to be anyone's inspiration. I really didn't. It was hard to even inspire myself. But I'm happy that, and I'm touched that people look at me and see something too.
In terms of nutrition, you have one thing out of, and there's a whole bunch of useful stuff you've learnt, but one thing which is above all the others, like as a sound bite.
Well, you have to not use. I try not to use the word diet.
Okay.
Because you're automatically thinking temporary when you use the word diet.
Oh, okay.
That's the one thing I try not to do.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it really is. I used to scoff at people who use this. It's healthy eating. You know, it's not a diet. It's healthy eating.
Yeah.
Clean eating. But it's true. When a lot of people, especially who have a lot of weight to lose, when they use the word diet, they think once they've reached wherever they're going to reach, they're going to be able to eat normally and be fine. And I've come to realize that I'll never be able to eat like I used to eat, you know, pounds of bread and rice and sweets and not have any consequences. And I think that's a mistake a lot of people think when they first start their journey, is use the word diet. It really isn't.
Okay.
You know.
Because diet implies
temporary.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, because for me, I guess I would consider diet as restriction, but you consider it more temporary, and
yeah, I think a lot of people think of it as a temporary nature.
Cool.
You know, I did, at least for a long time. Every time I started a diet, you know, and I lost 20, 30, 40 pounds, I'm like, okay, cool. And I'll go back to eating the weight and gained it all back, and then some. You know, even exercise, like, you know.
What would you say for exercise is your the most useful thing you learnt? If there was a most useful thing that you learnt from the exercise part of what you've done.
You'll get used to it and you'll crave it. I hated exercise. Okay. I really did. I loathed it. Even if you break it up in the day, when I first started out, it was like 20 minutes of cardio. What did we start off? 2 times a week? Or was it once a week?
I think it was twice a week when we first started.
And then it was 3 times, and then 4 times. And then, in the beginning, I couldn't go the full hour. Started breaking up in the day, go walking 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes or 20 minutes at lunch with all your nutrition classes and stuff. And then at night, if I had the time, if I wasn't too tired, or if I could. And it doesn't matter if you don't have a lot of time, as long as you can dedicate a little bit. Break it up in the day, you know, take the stairs, you know, park farther. Every little bit helps.
And after a while, it becomes something that you want to do.
Right? You crave, right? You know, when I wasn't able to exercise for 6 weeks, I was getting so antsy, I was getting grumpy. You know, it really does change your mindset. It doesn't make you feel better. You're less tired. You know, it really just changes everything.
Awesome. So let's start today's session. And again, I guess just to recap on everything we've done, hypnosis has been such a small part of it, right? It's just really getting your mind geared towards what you've been wanting to focus on.
Right, and it's actually had such a significant impact on my weight loss, just in breaking through mental barriers that I didn't realize were there. You know, I think I told you this during one of our sessions. I was scared to be skinny. Every time I reached a certain goal, you know, it was my identity.
Yeah. One of the things which people get confused about is they think that hypnosis is a way of controlling them to eat a certain way or do a certain thing. When it comes to weight loss, a common reaction is, I don't believe that hypnosis could make me do something. And we've never used hypnosis directly for weight loss. It's always been the surrounding ties to it.
Right.
So an example of one of the sessions, what do you feel comfortable about, like, telling me about in terms of what we've worked on? Like, do you remember some of the goals we've had as?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, like, childhood memories that were blocking me from, you know, I won't go into specifics, you know, I'm not comfortable with that yet. But yes, I mean, we brought a lot of my childhood memories and traumatic memories and dealt with it there, and it kind of like was, you know, refreshing and
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and helped me get past a lot of issues I had.
Yeah.
And that I didn't realize I had.
That was kind of, and some of those things were about your own identity, how you see yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's not immediately obvious that those kinds of things could relate to body composition, but of course they can. They're very powerful things, right?
Yeah.
And it's obviously been something that's been very useful for you, but again, it's been, in terms of time, it's been very minimal, right?
Minimal, yes, of
probably
course.
done like 6 sessions, 7 sessions over the last 2 years, 3 years, something like
less, maybe less than that. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think this will probably be our 6th one. Yeah.
So minimal, in terms of time, but important for, I guess, overcoming those sticking points when they've arisen.
Yeah. I find it very useful because when I reach a certain goal weight, and then I regress, and then I go back down, and then I regress, and I go back down, and then I regress, and then when you suggested a session, and that's when it kind of started to go.
Okay, great.
Once we broke through those barriers that I had, it was very empowering.
For somebody who doesn't have access to a hypnotherapist, for whatever reason, what advice would you give them if they were in your shoes? If they were in the shoes that you were in a year or 2 ago, what advice would you give them to help them deal with the mental change that goes along with physical change, and help them overcome sticking points? If you didn't have it as...
have a hypnotherapy?
Yeah, if you didn't use hypnosis as a tool, what advice... Because obviously the mental aspect of losing a significant amount of weight and changing your entire lifestyle is big, right?
Right.
What advice would you give someone wanting to achieve that mental change in I guess we call it a conscious way? How would you?
I would say, one of the issues I had to deal with was worthiness, and everybody's worthy. Just remember that individually. Your weight doesn't define you, and the person you are is worthy of.
What are some ways in which consciously you could, I guess, accept that?
I don't know. Well, I do a lot of... I surround myself with a very big support group.
Okay.
Of people that help me and pick me up, and that's really necessary. I think you're not going to be able to do this journey alone. Friends, exercise. I mean, you may need to change your friends. You really do. You might need to.
Yeah.
And
or it might just happen.
It might just happen, right? And expand you just need to open up, keep your mind open and accept any possibility, and don't take all the suggestions as criticisms, because they're not from other people. You just have to be open to new possibilities. Don't let the gym intimidate you. Don't let and I've run into this, there are little cliques in every gym. You just have to ignore it and just do your thing, and just remember why you're there. If you have to drag someone with you, then do it.
Okay.
And if you say, when I have time, you'll never have time. You have to make it.
Yeah.
If that's all you're going to say is, when I have time, I'll do it. When I have time, I just don't have time.
Yeah, isn't that so easy to do? I don't have time.
Yeah.
It's one of the things which I hear a lot. And not just for a weight loss goal, but for any goal. Didn't have time. And I think it comes down to prioritizing.
Yeah.
Because
If you have time to an hour to spend on Facebook
yeah,
or in front of the TV watching,
Yeah.
you know, then you have time.
yeah,
I understand that kids and, you know, your family life is a priority, but even, like I said, 15 minutes in front of doing a DVD when the kids are asleep instead of turning on General Hospital or, you know, or turning on the TV is better than nothing.
Okay.
You know, go around your neighborhood. Make it a family event.
So today's session is gonna be, well, actually we're recording 2 sessions for you to use as hypnotherapy audio tracks, and this is the result of a session we did 2 weeks ago on your goal of it being second nature to eat the right foods, exercise the necessary amount, maintain a healthy lifestyle and healthy body composition. And it's a very straightforward session. So this session contrasts with an in-depth processing session where we're doing a lot of thinking about what you thinking about your beliefs and values and like things that could be sticking points. But this session is very, very straightforward, just to kind of make a note about, I guess, make the point about this session being very different from one of the first sessions we might do for anyone kind of just looking at it. So let's begin. Are you good to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. You're
I'm comfy.
comfy.
Told you when I sit in
Not too
this
hot.
chair
Not too
now.
cold. Okay.
Just want
Okay.
to go to sleep. I'm
Cool.
just used to it.
Cool. Right, Franny. I'm excited.
Me too. I never thought I'd see this day, actually. I never really...
Maintenance, man. We've been talking about
I
it
know.
for so long.
But we know, through the years, I just never thought... Even as the pounds came off, I just never thought that I would get to this moment. Never. I mean, I haven't weighed this since elementary school. Since elementary school.
That's so cool.
And it's amazing. I even have it down when I reach
Yeah,
under 200.
okay.
When I finally got under 200, it was January 13th, 2011. 2012. I think it's 2012. 2012. January 13th, 2012. Of course I would want it to be much sooner than that, but that was kind of crazy. But I'm happy that I did it slow and steady.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
And-
the only
and-
realistic way.
Yeah. Yeah. And naturally.
All right. So let's begin. I would like you to begin clearing your mind